You know what time it is? It's MAIM time. Happy birthday, America! And welcome to another episode of MAIM Time, a show where we talk about overcoming identity struggle for millions of Asian diaspora worldwide and self-actualization, making the most of our lives. My name is MAIM, and I'm your host. It is indeed MAIM Time. And today is my 30th birthday. It's the big, dirty 30. This is a cheeky birthday special. That's right. The biological clock is ticking on your boy MAIM here. I'm still a young man, but not a bitty young man. I am a young man, but not bitty young anymore. Every year, I get one step closer to becoming a middle-aged ajashi. Before I delve into the episode, I just want to say update. Thanks to all you MAIM timers, we finally reached over 5,000 downloads last month. Yep. Even though I haven't been uploading or publishing as much, people have still been listening, like dozens of people a week. And for me, like, this is awesome. And 5K downloads, this is a big milestone. And that's not including, views on the YouTube channel, right? Every download counts. You count. And I count. But I didn't always think I did. 10 years ago, I tried to take my own life, and I didn't. Instead, I came to Korea. And I'm glad I didn't, because then I wouldn't be talking to you right now. Today, I'm 30 years old. I'm officially no longer a 20-something, and I will say it was an amazing decade, and I'm grateful for every year of my life up until now. So as I do every year, I'm going to go through a stream of consciousness bit on a bunch of stuff like identity, Korea, America, freedom, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And for my birthday, I love presents, but the only thing I'd ask of you for my birthday, if I could make a cheeky, dirty 30 birthday request, is that you really listen to what I'm saying in this episode and think about it. And if you like it, please share a link of this episode with a friend you think would benefit from this, or give me some feedback, please. I'd really appreciate to know what you think. Yes. I was born on the 4th of July in Seoul, South Korea, which is strangely auspicious considering my family moved to America after I was born. I remember my brother told me that a long time ago. Like, he said, yeah, I thought it was kind of weird. Like, you were born on the Independence Day of the country that we would later move to, right? And it happened to be America. And so if this is your first time listening, I grew up in America my whole life. I'm Korean American. 10 years ago, I moved back to Korea to find myself and get in touch with my roots, learn how to speak Korean, learn social skills, get into self-development, read books on philosophy, psychology, bunch of books, bunch of YouTube videos, a bunch of podcasts, and just how to become a better person, learn how to adult and all that. And it's been an amazing journey, and I'm still learning. I still make mistakes every day. I made a bunch of mistakes last night and today on my birthday. And in general, this past year, I've made some really terrible mistakes, and I will just say that this has been the most extremely difficult year of my life for me. Yes, it's been hard, fam. And not only that, I'm really hard on myself, especially when I make mistakes. I always feel that I'm far from realizing my true potential. Right here, we on the show, we talk about self-actualization. Right, like making the most out of your life in any sense that you want, whether it's like physically, financially, romantically, and da. Right, you want to be an artist, you want to pursue a business, all these things. So whether physically, financially, romantically, creatively, or in terms of productivity and impact, I feel like I'm always falling short. I'm nowhere near half my total potential. Like, I'm not even 10% of what I'm really capable of. And so many times I feel like I get in my own way, that I'm my own worst enemy. I have thoughts like, I'm too easily distracted. I'm a slave to my addictions, alcohol, food, cigarettes, porn, women, what have you. I'm not disciplined enough, right? I always quip, oh, why am I not like Elon Musk? Like, how can I get to like Elon Musk levels of productivity? I just say, oh, I'm not organized enough. I'm not efficient enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm not good looking enough. I'm not confident enough. I am not enough. I feel this deep down every day. Some days are better than others, but like there's always this background, machine refrigerator hum of negative energy since I was a kid, and a big part of it, I suspect, has to do with my upbringing, the lack of confidence or really negative self-image coming from a traumatizing identity struggle, which has been the core darkness in my soul my whole life. I mean, not knowing what I am. Am I Korean? Am I American? What does that mean? Why am I the only Asian kid on the block in my neighborhood? Why can't my parents speak English? Why can't I speak Korean? It's so fucking frustrating that we can't even speak the same language. Like, if you're like adopted, then like if you're like a Korean adoptee, at least you grow up like with probably white parents, and then y'all grow up speaking English together. My heart goes out to all my adopted brothers and sisters who is especially maybe listening. Like I have such like sympathy and empathy because like that I think that's like really so difficult for so many people in their own ways. But like I went to America with my Korean family, but I didn't grow up speaking Korean, and so I cannot describe to you how frustrating it is that you can't communicate with your parents in your own mother tongue. And some of you listening might know, and like if you know what this feels like, just reach out to me, right? Because like I grew up with like I saw some other Korean Americans or like Asian kids, right? They at least spoke the same language at home, but for whatever reason, like it just didn't happen. So I mean, I talk about this like all the time, so I don't want to get too much into it this episode, but I went through this like long term period of overall depression in my childhood and teens because like of this identity conflict, not knowing where I am and not feeling like I belonged anywhere. Like I thought that I was defective because I was too stupid to learn Korean. I thought like maybe like I'm not worthy of love. Like I didn't feel that I belonged or that I was worthy of love from family or from society or whatever. And I thought God is unfair. I hate everybody. I hate Korea. Considering, I mean, I've never even been there, but I'm Korean. I don't even speak Korean, but like English is my first language. But what do I have to do with Korea? What loyalty do I have to Korea? What do I owe to these backwards immigrants' parents who grew up in a different time? They were like uneducated and they had very hard lives. I'm not here to talk smack about my parents. I used to think of them as villains, but now I treat them as like my heroes in my mind. I see what they went through, and actually they did pretty well, all things considered. I'm really looking at it in a glace pool kind of way. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I hated like my family. I hated that I was Korean, Asian. I wish that I was like white or black or blah blah blah. Like I was so miserable and like I wanted to see the world burn, right? Like I really felt this emotionally and I had these thoughts growing up as a kid in the States. And yeah, I don't mean to really go into it because I really do talk about this stuff every episode, but that maybe there's a refresher for some of you fam. And so what I learned over this past decade coming into Korea, into my 20s, in a journey to become a better person, right? In order to heal, in order to like be happy and smile a lot and just enjoy life, just to come to peace with myself. And I had to come to the realization in this past decade that I had to experience all these things in my past so that I could learn to face that darkness and then transform that dark energy into positive output, transmuting dark lead to bright gold. I was destined to suffer so that I could learn, forgive, and grow and potentially help other people heal. That's why I have this podcast. Yeah, that's what MAIM time. What time is it? It's MAIM time. It's time to face your demons, right? As an Asian diaspora, to really just fucking like go all in. Just like this life is short. Like it's just too much to live your whole life with like regret or hatred or resentment for like your identity or your parents or this and that. And, I could go on forever. That's why I have this podcast. But and every year I talk about like, what am I? Am I Korean? Am I American? And I'll say this year, I'll iterate in this way. I am a child of Korea. I represent the Korean dream. I represent the pinnacle of my family's lineage, the latest, most cutting edge, updated model of Korean evolution, blessed with more opportunities than I could imagine. My Asian ancestors would be amazed by me. My father would be amazed by me if he could see what I'm doing now, living day to day in a peaceful, high tech, modern society, access to information, the wisdom of the ages, the tools of the future, the explosion of arts and technology. I mean, it's really amazing. I'm not saying this is as good as it gets. I'm saying it's never been better, and we should never take that for granted. And we can make it better. I'm Korean. I'm Asian. The blood of my Asian Korean ancestors courses through my veins. The blood of my dead father, may he rest in power forever, and my living mother, sacred and beautiful, course through my veins. While my heart and mind are imbued with the Faustian spirit of the founding fathers, right? So I'm Korean blood, grow up in America. I'm imbued with the American spirit, American culture, right? I'm American. I'm American as fuck, America. I love America. I'm so grateful that I grew up there, that I could be a part of this legacy, you know. And I love all peoples around the world, and I love the American people, the 330, 50 million people from all walks of life. Some people going from, like, you know, their ancestors came from Europe or from India or wherever. Like I love it. It's not perfect, but I love it. I love all peoples, and white, black, Asian, Hispanic, Indian, Arab, yellow, purple, brown, and blue. I don't care what your politics are or where you come from. And because if I judge a brother or sister, then I'm only judging myself. You know, I'm only attacking myself. I really believe that. Or maybe it's not necessarily true, but I choose to believe it because I think it'll get me closer to peace. I love America. And you know what? I am the American dream. I am the Korean dream of my father who wanted to move to America to find the American dream. And then growing up in America, I found my American dream of independence and freedom by coming to Korea to face my past. It's really fucking beautiful and poetic. And I dream of my Joseon dynasty ancestors, the founding fathers, King Sejong the Great, and Ralph Waldo Emerson, all of us in a dope-ass club, drinking the finest, purest sojus and whiskeys, you know, smoking cigars or whatever, surrounded by friends and family, bathed in the light of fireworks. I am the best of both worlds. I am a unique, powerful gift to the world because of my background. I'm living on the motherfucking bleeding edge of life. Nobody's like me. Nobody has evolved the way that I have. The personal transformation that I have experienced, I meet very few people in my day-to-day life that, like, there's some sort of real parallel. And yeah. These days, I'm trying to become a bit more arrogant because, like, I think humility is extremely important, but I'm also trying to, you know, like, put on some arrogance for my ego a bit and see how if this works for me to actually help me become a more confident and successful person. So I don't know, there's always a balance of, like, humility and then pride, depending on how you define that, right? Is it a sin or not? But anyways, let me go back to what I was saying. Like, nobody's like me. Nobody has evolved the way that I have. No one knows the courage it took for me to do all the things that I did. Every single motherfucking conversation in Korean, right? All the stupid mistakes I said, every single time I talked to a Korean person, my whole past coming up, me resenting being Korean, I fucking did it, dude. Or dudette. Like, I did it. I learned Korean. I speak at a proficient level. And I've obviously got a lot more to learn. I'm always learning new words every day. But, you know, I was just filling out, like, paperwork at the tax office earlier today, you know, to get a cheeky business license, right? I'm filling out these forms, and, like, I can't read super fast, but I fill it out like an adult. And if there's questions, then I ask the staff member there to help me out, right? Like, I can do all this, but I thought this was impossible when I was a kid. A dream that I thought was impossible. I thought I was too stupid, too dumb, too defective to even know my own mother tongue. Not having spoken it properly for 20 years of my life, 22 years of my life. Now I can fill out paperwork. I can do my taxes, you know. I can fill out forms. I can read fucking advertisements on the subway. Nobody that I know obviously I know Korean Americans, and I know, like, okay, a lot of Korean Americans, maybe their Korean's not that great, but they come to Korea, they get it really good, right? But no one, it was, like, quite as fucked as I am, I think, right? Again, like, two of my adoptee brothers and sisters, like, like for me, it feels a bit different because like I also had like the advantage, of course, growing up with my Korean parents. So it is different. It is I do have an unfair advantage, but I always, like complain inside that, it's not, life isn't fair because so many Korean Americans, like they learned Korean at home, right? And I know there's a lot of you brothers and sisters out there, or Asian Americans who, you maybe your parents spoke it, but you didn't do it. Like, talk to me, please. Let's connect. Let's talk it out, right? Because for me, there's a lot of trauma there. So I can't be the only guy who's fucked up about this kind of stuff. So, anyways, sorry, I kind of digressed a bit there, but let me do this a third time. Nobody's like me. Nobody has evolved the way that I have, and nobody knows the courage it took for me to do all these things, to take all these steps. Nobody has overcome the struggles that I've overcome, right? With speaking Korean, with social anxiety, and doing all these things to improve myself. And nobody cares about people the way that I care. Like, nobody's that quite as like sensitive and attention to detail and whatever. And maybe this is a blessing and a curse because I care too much, or maybe I care too much what people think and how they feel. But I realize more and more as time goes on that like, wow, I have grown so much over the past 10 years. And I look back on my past as a train of great days, all the amazing things I did, all the amazing people that I met, all the people who I made laugh, all the good energy that I brought to the world. Korea's history of wars, to transition a bit here, going back to Korea. Korea's history of wars, conquest, and division, right, in the heart of East Asia, has created a deep longing for peace in the heart of the Korean people. At least that's my thesis. That's my working thesis. I think, Korea, sandwiched right between China and Japan, all these like hundreds, thousands of years of conquest, like the Mongols came in, all this shit, right? In the West, right? America. Like always like split up. And then the war last century, right? The Korean War, North and South, right? Korean people have been through a lot, right? All Asian peoples have been through a lot, but Korea people, we have the Han, right? Which is like the deep bitterness, resentment, and suffering, and it's like all these dark emotions mixed together. And you have no power, so you take it on like your loved ones, your subordinates, right? It's just awful. It's just the world is just such a fucking terrible, awful meat grinder. It's so brutally unfair. So I think what I see is that the Korean people actually have a deep, long-seated desire for peace, and I believe that it is displayed or symbolized in the Korean flag itself, the taegukgi, because the taeguk, which means the great ultimate, it's the yin yang, the blue and red swirly thing, the Pepsi symbol, right? And the other marks around it, like. I'm not doing it justice right now. It's been a while since I've looked, but it represents like heaven, earth, and fire and water, like the elements. So it's supposed to symbolize like a harmony amongst earth and heaven and nature and society and man and stuff like that. So that's what I think Korea is like. What is really about a deep thing, a deep element within the Korean psyche. I think Korean people really want peace deep down inside. I mean, don't we all, right, worldwide? But the Korean people especially have a desire to kind of like to seek peace and stability. America's history is the desire for freedom, right? The 13 colonies, independence from the British Empire, right? In the spirit of the Declaration of Independence, right? Self-autonomy, self-reliance. And so, right, America, right, the colonists, they went to America and they didn't want to be overtaxed and all that stuff, right? Boston Tea Party, shout out to New England, shout out to Boston, shout out to all my friends and fam from Rhode Island, miss you all, love you all, right? Shout out to the Gatsby, who remembers the Gatsby. America, freedom, right? Independence, and then the desire to like go expand westward and like like see what's on the frontier, right? So there's like that sense of adventure, and I mean there's a lot of terrible things that happen to the Native Americans along the way, and I'm not going to go into that, but I don't think that takes away from the heart of the American invention, the American experiment, the dream of freedom, like more personal autonomy, individual sovereignty, and liberty, self-reliance. So if I could sum up the Korean dream in one word, that is peace. And if I could sum up the American dream in one word, it's freedom. So if Korea is peace and America is freedom, we have East and West, then I am a living embodiment of both these things. I am a living embodiment of the great ultimate, the Taeguk on the Korean flag, of East and West. And the yin and yang, Korea and America, are halves of me, right? They're two halves of me. And they just keep spinning and spinning, and they seek resolution, right? Like my whole life, like, am I Korean? Am I American? Well, am I Asian? Am I Western? Whatever. Right? I mean, I'm clearly Western and American as fuck, right? Like culturally and whatever. But I can't deny, right, the Asian, the Korean side of me, And so as part of this Korean and Asian heritage, I think for all my Asians and brothers and sisters out there, especially those of Korean descent, I think we bear this inertia of thousands of years of collective intergenerational trauma. And so like that's why like I want freedom from that. Like I resent that. I've resented that. But now I'm just like, okay, no, this is what we have to deal with. This is our heritage. This is like the sins of our father kind of thing. And you can't run away from like your past. You can't run away from where you come from. I believe that. I've tried my whole life, but I just look in the mirror like, oh, I'm fucking Asian. I'm Korean. And before I hated it, but now I love it. I love what I see in the mirror. I'm really proud and grateful and humbled to be part of this heritage. I consider like I'm privileged, right? I consider a privilege, and I'm also like, and with that privilege comes humility. Obviously, because I didn't choose to be born anything, right? I didn't choose to be born a guy or Korean or Asian or whatever. But my point being is like I think we I don't want to say duty, but I like the word duty too. Not that kind of duty, but Call of Duty, duty and responsibility. But I don't want to. I'm saying it's something voluntary, right? And that's where the freedom aspect. That's where the Western freedom comes. It's not Eastern Confucian duty and obligation. Like you hate it and you don't want to do it. But I come from like a Western mind. No, I want to do it because it's the right thing to do to serve the collective, which is crazy for me to say because like 10 years ago, I was all like super Western individualistic. I was like, oh no, like this is part of where I come from and I want to celebrate it and respect it and appreciate it. Obviously, I could criticize it all day, but that doesn't actually help. It actually seek first to understand and then seek to be understood. Or before you seek to be understood, first seek to understand. Or maybe it was right the first order anyways. So anyways, that's why I'm a healer. And that's why I have this podcast, because I think we have a monumental, enormous endeavor in front of us for the generations to come to really just come to peace, read books on psychology, like talk it out, have all the therapy sessions, to really just like come to peace and understanding with who we are as individuals, as societies, as cultures. I'm a healer and I want to help other people heal. And I look at myself and I say, what am I deep inside? I am a peacemaker between nations, between America and Korea. Like I talk to other, Gyopos, other Korean Americans, and I say, like, look, I feel your pain, bro. I feel the resentment. But look at what we have here. This is amazing. We're an opportunity to bridge the East and West, right? Why resent one side and then have to cleave to the other, right? It's because it makes you feel like you belong more. Right? But it's always like a reaction to a pain body. So I just say, like, just acknowledge where it comes from. And that's what I think I've been doing. And I think I've been quite fucking successful, actually. I think it's a really healthy life affirming attitude to fully affirm and acknowledge all sides of my identity. Culturally, racially, ethnically, what have you. I'm a peacemaker between nations. I'm a bridge between worlds. I am peace and I am freedom. I am the Korean dream and I am the American dream. And the ultimate dream of dreams in my heart is total peace and freedom for all humanity worldwide, all the billions of people, just suffering out there. It's crazy. Like life is so fucked up. It's so hard. Like, but a part of me wants to help. So I think in my own way, because with my journey, and like where I'm at right now, I feel like especially with MAIM Time, my podcast. My life's mission is to embody that peace and freedom so I can move the needle just a little closer to toward that dream. Like, can you imagine just like, I mean, just imagine millions of Asian diaspora, Korean Americans, Asian Americans, right? Chinese, French, whatever, Hong Kong Canadian, wherever you are, whatever third culture, whether you're mixed or adoptee, you know, parents speak different languages, like whatever you are. What if you could just like come to peace with everything as much as you can, right? In your past, with your parents, your brothers or sisters, with your identity, right? What if you could just fully affirm it and just acknowledge that life isn't fair, and then just tell yourself like, I want peace and I want freedom and I want to forgive. You know, imagine millions, because there's a lot of, obviously there are a lot of Asians. I don't know if you guys knew this. There are a lot of Asians in the world, and there's a percentage of Asians who grow up outside of Asia in the West, right? Whether you're Chinese, German, or Korean American, right? There are millions of us, right? And because it's a global world and we're all speaking English, I mean American, I mean, you know what I mean? Uh, like we have this chance as Asian diaspora worldwide for some kind of pan-Asian collective identity. You know, I'm not trying to start I'm not trying to start a fucking movement or a religion here, but you know what I mean? Like, what if we could all connect and heal all the divides for our own respective motherland cultures, right? So what if there are like more Korean Americans who, you know, in America and Korea, they go back and forth, and wherever they go, they represent the best that America is if they're in Korea, or the best Korean Americans that people meet, right? So if you're Korean American and you're in Korea and you're living a good life, you're a good person, you work hard, you know, show work on time, all this stuff, and you're productive, like you know, positive member of society. I know that sounds kind of lame, but you know, what if you could do that? And what if you actively sought to kind of bridge and heal misunderstandings between two different people, between family members, between friends? What if you could do that? What if you could what if you're Chinese American and you go back to China, or what if you're Taiwanese American, you go to Taiwan? What if you're you know, Japanese Brazilian, right? And you grow up speaking Portuguese, and you go to Japan and you're like, what? Like everyone treats me like I'm different because you are, right? And you know, but you probably feel like, oh, I don't belong here, and blah 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 blah, and you go through this whole journey of like, oh well, like, you know, like I'm you know, I love Brazil, I'm Brazilian, right? You're Japanese descent, but you're or Mexico, or what, you guys get what I'm saying? Like, what if we could have like an expansion of like mind and spirit and heart to really help bridge and again heal misunderstandings between our respective cultures and our ethnicities, right? How amazing would that be if we went on that spectrum, right? And we brought the best ideas and the best energy and peace, understanding, and love back to our respective homelands, and then from what we learn in our native motherlands or whatever, we take that back to America, or you know, wherever we consider our home countries are, and we have a broader understanding of the world. You know what I mean? Like, what if we could just have more of that, and just like, you know, people of different generations just hugging it out, telling each other "I love you," right? Right? Like Asian dads, they don't really tell their kids. You know, they're not really known for telling their sons that they love them, right? But what if you could be the first one? Your dad or your mom didn't say I love you enough, or if at all, or if they didn't hug you. Well, if you have a kid, then you can tell their kid I love you and then hug them, right? What if you could be that? You could be that. There are people doing it, right? It's an amazing time in the world to be Asian and to be Asian diaspora. So that's what I want to do. I want us to get a little closer to that dream, right? Why do I care? Because I love you. Because I love Asia, and I love Korea, and I love Asian peoples. I love Asian mothers and fathers. I see the heart. I see their blood, sweat, and tears, and I just see how they struggle. I see how they succeed. I see how they pull through. You know, I love being Asian. And when I was a kid, I hated it. I hated being Asian, and I hated being Korean. But now I love Koreans, and I love Asians, and I'm proud to be one of them. And this is not to hate on other peoples or to say that I think we're better than whatever, you know. But I just think like this is a way to heal the past self-hatred. You know, I think this is appropriate and measured. And yeah, I love you, and I am love, and so are you, right? I have so much love, an infinite ocean of love and joy for all humanity, for the entire universe. When I think about like the billions of people on this planet, like all the wars and evil shit that we do to each other, and I think, oh, wow, life is so fucked up. Humanity is so fucked up, and I really want to help. But the beautiful thing is like there's never been a better time in human history to make a difference. And I don't know. That sounds maybe cliche or lame, but it's totally fucking true. I'm doing this right now. This is the best time in human history to be alive. It's not perfect, but there's no such thing as utopia. Every society is going to have problems. Every generation is going to have problems, new challenges to face, right? Like Elon Musk is trying to get us to Mars right now, right? That's this generation's challenge. And then what happens when they get to Mars? You think problems are going to go away? No, they're just going to be more problems. Then there might be like, wars, interstellar, like wars between Earth and Mars. Like they have their problems, right? No, there's no such thing as a perfect world and perfect life. Or utopia. Maybe these are ideals of perfection that we could strive for as stretch goals, but this is amazing. So let's not take it for granted. Like I look at the progress and progression in my own 30 years of living, which I don't even remember half of it, because I mean, you don't even remember like 1% of all your waking memories ever, do you? Like, I mean, how could you even calculate that? And so even our lives are not even a worm's fart in the wind of the cosmos, But this life is actually pretty awesome. There's a lot of opportunities. There's again, the progression in my life. If I can have the privilege and realize the prospects of bettering myself as a human being in ways that my father and his father and his father and my mother's mothers and so on, like they could never have these opportunities to educate themselves through the internet or something like that, or find other communities around the world, or travel and find love, or what, all these things, right? We have immense privileges and opportunities. We have all these tools for success. I think we could do it, and we should do it because it's fucking awesome. We're gonna change our lives. We can change our own lives, and it's in the end, it's just love, right? So if I want to help the world, I want to help change the world in my own way. At least move the needle in my own MAIM time domain, right? Even if, dude, dozens of downloads a week, that's awesome. I barely got a few downloads a week, like, I don't know, like a year ago or whatever. Dozens of downloads a week, that's awesome. If people are actually listening to this and they're getting something out, if y'all are getting something out of it, like you have no idea how much joy and meaning that brings. I would appreciate it if you would give me some oxygen, some feedback, and some because if you do that, like, it makes me put out more content and what makes me want to do better. But anyways, if I want to change the world, I have to change my world, right? Like Michael Jackson said, I'm starting with the man in the mirror. If I want world peace, I need peace in my own life, and if I want that, then I can do it today. When do I choose peace? I choose peace today. I had this thought earlier today. I was going to work. I was running errands, and I was actually exhausted. I didn't sleep so well last night, so I'm just like, oh, my birthday. I should be kind of like relaxing or have more freedom, but like I'm working and I'm doing this and that, running errands, and then I just slapped myself. I just prayed to my ancestors. Ancestors, guide me. Ancestors, give me strength. Give me like your emotional support. My dead ancient ancestors, please help me, guide me, help me see the way. I can choose to see peace instead of this. And then I realized like, I can choose peace right now. I choose peace right now. I'm free right now. In spite of whatever's going on in my life, whatever weighs on my soul or burdens my shoulders, my past, all that shit, whatever it is, I choose life. I choose peace today. I choose freedom. I'm just going to be kind of broken record saying the same shit again. I can choose to see peace at any moment. Freedom is a state of mind. Some inmates on death row live this truth out every day, right? And they're people, because they're people in death row. They're people in prison in all kinds of crazy situations. Like they're stuck there physically. And some of them, by the grace of Buddha, are able to find peace, right? Like self-forgiveness, acceptance, understanding, and and it's obviously not ideal from a life situation kind of way, but they're able to find genuine peace. You know, a few rare individuals. So if you were thrown in prison and they threw away the key, what would you do? Would you let it break your spirit? Would it break your resolve? Or could you find peace no matter what? I mean, it's just a thought experiment, but I mean, if you really think about it, like when life really tests you, like what are you made of? Right? Because and the thing is, you don't really know people until they suffer, until they struggle, right? Or when they're trying to do work, like that's only when you really know the character of a man or woman. Could you find peace no matter what your situation? And I'm not saying like, oh, we all become enlightened like Buddha all the time, but if you could have more moments where you take a deep breath and just like let shit go, just let that shit go, you know, could you find peace? And I think you can't control all your emotions and the way you react all the time, but you can improve it some of the time, and then you could get better at like building a spiritual, you know, mental muscle. It helps you, you know, you're going through a hard time, you're struggling, whatever's going on, you know, breakup, divorce, you lost your job, you lost all your money, you lost all your shit in crypto. Shout out to my crypto friends. Stay strong, you know. You're struggling, right? It's like, can you choose to see peace in this moment, no matter what? In the end, we all die anyways, right? I mean, it's just money. Every day, every moment, you can choose peace, you can choose freedom, you can choose love, right? And you have to believe it. You have to kind of brainwash yourself, you know, to make it true. And I choose to believe. I choose to believe that I can choose peace, freedom, and love in this moment. So, anyways, in closing, I love Korea and the Korean people. I love America and the American people. I love me. I am the Korean dream. I am the American dream. I am life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I am all these things and more in my own individual way. If peace and freedom are available to me, then they are available to you and all God's children, whether you believe in God or not. Sometimes I don't know either, but you know, if I can find these things, if I can find this treasure and joy internally, then I think you can find it within yourself as well. Or maybe not, right? Maybe this is bullshit, but how would you know unless you really explore? So we're just having a conversation here, right? I'm not a fucking guru or anything, but this is just, I'm just want to talk authentically from my experiences. And again, this is not just I mean, it is literally a one-way show right now, but please, you know, leave comments on the under the YouTube video or like on the webpage, the webpage for this particular episode. And I'd love to hear what you think, you know? So thank you so much for listening or watching. Happy birthday, America. Happy Independence Day to you all. Thank you so much. And I really, really, really fucking love you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I just want to say one last side note, I am throwing a huge Dirty 30 party, not today, on Friday, July 15 in Seoul. So if you're a listener, you're totally invited. If you're listening to this, you're totally invited to my birthday party and you should come and bring friends. It's going to be fucking lit, right? Like I'll give you a cheeky shot. It'll be a good time. We're going to get lit. We're going to dance our asses off. You can see me make a fool of myself on my birthday. And yeah, you can email me at maim@maimtime.com or follow me on Instagram and DM me for details. Or if you have my contact, just hit me up. Anyways, yeah, let's celebrate life and get lit.